How's it going, everybody? This is my first snow of the year. I don't know if a lot of you who follow me on this channel know that I'm a photographer. I love taking nature portraits and wildlife images, including macro photography, like really tiny things like insects and textures, abstract patterns and things like that. Like, that's what I really, really love to do. But especially insects, that's really, really, really my thing. But it kind of got me thinking about something. And as I was sitting here, I've been on a roll. Like, I've been so caught up with just trying to make sure that I get these pictures done, listed for sale. And then also I'm, like reworking some things in my photography business and stuff like that. And I've actually been pretty happy. I know stock photography is not necessarily the biggest money maker. Stock footage is too, so that's also a part of the process. And I've been really, really enjoying myself, but enjoying myself is not really the point. The whole point of this is this is something that God gave me, and He gave it to me for a reason. Okay. There's a reason I'm not posting this video on my photography channel, because this isn't photography related stuff as much as it is more of a thing I'd rather put on my Christian channel. But I remember, first of all, I was listening to YouTube and some things happened to some young rappers and stuff like that in the music industry. I've actually heard quite a few things about it, but like one of the videos just kind of auto played, and because my phone's not sealed against moisture and things like that, I didn't want to pull it out with so much snow going on. I didn't want to pull it out, and so I just kind of let the video play a little bit. And as I'm listening to it, I was saying to myself, man, I'm so glad I'm not a part of the industry. I remember when I used to rap, and I used to want to be a part of the industry so bad. I would have done anything to get in the industry, like everybody does. Everybody does anything to get there. It doesn't matter what they say. There's also things that you should be aware of the fact that they're not allowed to say. And so it doesn't matter what they say. You always know there's something you're not being told. So you can't really take what they say about it. But there's quite a few people who actually escape from there, and they start telling you about everything that goes on and stuff like that. But I remember when I was caught up so heavily in my music and stuff like that. I was working on an album. It was the year when I really first started taking my music business seriously. And I don't know why I got so freaking I don't want to say frustrated, but for some odd reason, something made me aware of how evil the industry really is. Even though I knew that already, I just thought that maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Maybe I can be the different one who go in and survive, or maybe I can make a little money real quick and jet out. That's what everybody think, but it doesn't work that way. In order to even be allowed in, it's over. You know what I mean? So as I'm sitting here just realizing how much I've really been enjoying my time in prayer with God, my time in Bible study with God, all out here while I'm taking nature photographs and videos, but for sale. You know what I mean? It's almost like, what more can you ask for? And I'm sitting here, I don't have much money at all, but guess what? Something made me aware of how grateful I should be that God allowed me to look at the music I was making, but not even the industry. Just the music I was making was the problem. industry or not, the music I was making is what was causing the destruction in my life and in my soul and in my personality. And he made me so aware of all the destruction that hip hop has caused. And now I'm spreading the same messages to other people. And I started to see changes in my friends and things like that. And I remember the day when I broke down and cried and said, I don't want to do this no more. And I prayed, like that was my first real prayer, and I don't know how long. I think that might have been my first real time actually crying out to God about something that was that significant to me. Like, you know, my music. Okay, I mean, there were other things that were important to me too, like getting a job and stuff like that. You know, things you pray about, like little odds and ends. But like that was the first time I was so willing to divorce myself from something that has been a part of me forever, just because I don't want to live an evil life. And I was still in sin. I was like 5 years from actually being saved for real. But I cried out to God that day, and I said, this is the only other skill that I have is my art, my music. And I'm like, I want to leave this alone, but I mean, this is a part of me. Like when you become an artist, your art becomes a part of who you are. It really is. And a lot of people don't know what it's like to try to divorce yourself from something that you believe is a part of who you are. It's almost like raising a child up to like 10 years old that you grew a strong bond with, and then giving them up for adoption one day just because it got hard. It's like, how could you do that? Man, you should have did that before they got to know you. You know what I mean? Like that child would have been happy struggling. You know what I mean? Like that's it's almost as hard as that right there. But it was for a righteous reason. I don't believe I was trying to go on some righteous path at that point in time. I just saw that this was evil, and it really started to show its horns. As soon as I got more serious about my music business, I started to see things more and more clear, like from a bird's eye point of view. And I'm like, this is not what I'm going to be doing. I promise you I won't do this. I promise you I'm not about to keep living this way. See, people think that it's all just entertainment. Doesn't matter what music you listen to. It's not all just entertainment. It puts messages in your mind, and it causes you to form into what it is you putting into your mind, believe it or not. And I saw people I loved form into things that they were putting into their minds. I saw myself forming into stuff that I was putting into my mind. And I'm like, no way. This has to stop. And so I cried out to God. I said, God, like, hey, I love art. I mean, this is a part of me, but I would rather have a better art to do than this. Like, I don't want to destroy people and try and capitalize off of it. I was destroying people and wasn't making money. And I thought that was bad. I was destroying people when nobody really knew me. And I thought that was bad. Imagine if this blew up. Then how much more blood would I have on my hands? Sorry. I normally don't cry on videos and things like that, but That really meant a lot to me. That was a big deal to me, man. And most people don't ever get a chance to recognize that. Most people don't ever get a chance to become aware of that until it's too late and they're stuck in there and don't know what to do and don't know who to talk to. And their life is always in danger and nobody thinks so because they got the money and they're on the camera. And these people in there are struggling, bro. And y'all don't think so. Y'all don't see it. People losing their family members and fathers and brothers over power games. People losing their soul all to be recognized by men for their art and earn money off of it. And I remember when I became aware of that whole reality, and I told myself I'd rather just work a job. I'd rather just work a job. I'd rather quit and do nothing with the rest of my life except help build somebody else's dreams. At least I can sleep at night. And I remember, I think that might have been like my first time I was ever really like, I don't want to say it was my first time I ever heard God kind of speak to me, because he has in dreams before. I was just taking too long to surrender to him. He gave me a dream. When I fell asleep at work, it was all around the same time period. And I was sitting on a bus in this dream. And there was this man, he almost looked like the Star Wars dude with the red face and the horns. But he had a cowboy hat on, so he looked like a cross between him and Freddy Krueger, and he had a very long snake tongue. As this man's snake tongue was coming out of his mouth, I looked out of the window, and there was some kids playing on a tree. And this tree was alive, and they were playing on the tree, climbing the tree. And then next thing I know, I looked over again. The tree was dead and the children died because the tree fell. And I heard a voice say to me in that dream, and I don't even know how this was even related to anything that was going on there. Maybe this was two messages. And he said, if the world is what you want, then this is what's going to happen. If the world is what you want to have, then this is what it looks like. And for some odd reason, I didn't really understand it, but I'm thinking about the words I say in my music and all of these children who belong to God. Dying slowly but surely from every word that we put in our songs. We killing them, bro. And we can't even see that. We helping them go to prison, and we can't see that. Mothers are losing their sons and daughters, and we can't even see that. And fathers have to watch their daughters expose themselves on television for a paycheck, and we can't even tell that each and every one of us who ever had a play in this is a part of why everybody get up there and do what it is they do, and why everybody over here in these neighborhoods are doing what they do, because somebody's inspiring it. And I remember after I had that prayer that day, this was another situation from the dream. It was the first thing I was talking about. And I remember when I prayed that day, it's like I heard a voice say inside of me. I didn't even hear it. I just felt it. He said, "What is that in your hand?" After I cried out to God, and I said, "I want to leave this alone. Give me something else I could do that could be more innocent and useful to the world than what it is I'm doing." And he said, "What is that in your hand?" You know what it was in my hand? I'm sorry. But you want to know what it was in my hand? I had bought a camera that year to record my music videos. But for some odd reason, I used it a lot more to take pictures of animals. I had no idea why. And ever since then, that's just been what I'm doing. That's what I've been doing. It might not sound like a huge deal to a lot of people, but there's a lot of people in this world that know exactly what I'm saying. Who know exactly what it is I'm talking about. And if you stuck in a cycle of life where you feel like you are playing a role in destroying your community or the world, just ask God to give you something else to do. I promise you, he'll do that, bro. Like, he don't want to leave you stuck selling drugs. He don't want to leave you stuck making gangster rap or whatever it is people call it nowadays. I had no idea. That's what the old people called it when I was doing gangster rap. You know what I mean? But, man, he ain't going to leave you stuck being unrighteous. You just ask, like, I need to get out of this. I want to not do this anymore. Well, show me how to do it differently, if anything. Sometimes he might sit you down for years. Like when I first got saved, I got sat down from photographs for a couple of years, I did. And the real reason why is because I needed to focus on other things in my relationship with God. And God is with me when I do this. Do you know that? Like, that's kind of funny to say that, though. Like, how is God with you when you're out taking photographs? I just can't explain it. I even pray about the gear I buy. And I wait until I believe I got an answer. Like, even if the decision that even if the conclusion is something that I wasn't really looking forward to. And every time I obey that, a lot of good things happen with it. It's like the more and more you start seeing things like that happen, you're like, yeah, I already know, man. God, he's got his hand on the work of our hands right now. There's environments we go in where we shouldn't get anything good. And we come out with like a miracle of an image. Like, how did you get that? Oh, God was with me. I really didn't know what I was doing, but something was like, do it like this. And I did. And out came this nice image, you know. Next thing you know, man, you start selling it all on the internet and people using it. You see it on the billboard, on a children's book, on a Christian children's book. You're like, wow, that's sweet. And then you meet people when you out and about and talk to them about the Lord and all of that and just adore what he created. But I got a very important missed call. I have to call them back really, 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 really soon. And I'm actually at the end of what I was saying. But if you want help out of the hip-hop game, and you just don't know what else to do with your life, that's the real reason why most people never leave, even though they know the industry's evil. Look, because they don't have anything else to do with their life except go work a job and and do something that means nothing to them. And nobody want to do something that means nothing to them and that be all they have. Yes, sacrifice a little time in order to get some resources. Yeah, that's okay. But that being all you have, it's like a no. No. I gotta have my dreams, man. And they gotta work out too. They gotta become a reality as well. It ain't just about dreaming. But hey, man, don't ever be afraid to just tell God, I need help. I need a way out of being unrighteous. I didn't know that years later that was going to set me up to really have a born again experience. I didn't know that was setting me up for that. There's a lot of other things that took place in my life just because of some of the decisions I made around that time period, but for things related to stuff like that. I didn't know that all of those decisions that I had to make and all of those opportunities I was faced with and stuff, all was going to lead up to this. I'm telling you guys, there's always a way out. You just gotta be sincere. If I would have cried to God and said, God, I want to learn a new art because I want to make some money, because I ain't making money at my music, I probably would have gotten a response like, you need money, go make it, go work a job then or something like that. No big deal. But I said, because I don't want to be evil. That's what I said. And sure enough, there was a response to that one. I prayed about 1,000,000 things before, but you holler and tell God, hey, I'm tired of being evil. Help, please help. Wait, did you say something? Finally? Did you finally say something? No, I've been saying something forever. Oh. Well, you finally speaking my language then. I didn't know who you were talking to. Don't be surprised if he kind of have that kind of, like, if he kind of, look at it a little like that. But I'm sure he don't, but I just kind of made it a little bit of a joke. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm going to keep a lot of you people in my prayers, man. Especially some people I grew up with and stuff. Because I don't want to see anybody sacrifice their soul to a demon that cares nothing about them. And right before I was getting ready to stop and record this video, when I was actually thinking about this, I said, man, at a point in time, I was this caught up with trying to sell my soul. And now I'm equally caught up with building it and possessing it and strengthening it and cleaning it up. That was a real soul swap right there. I mean, I don't want to say a soul swap, but a soul condition swap. I knew people had to sell their soul in the industry, and I still wanted to be a part of it. That was the saddest part of it. I knew how the industry got down, and I didn't care. I just had to see it for myself. That was the saddest part of it. And you know what? A whole lot of people like that. They just would never say it. All right, so I actually have to cut in because I did record the whole video, and I forgot that I said this. But I forgot I didn't say this. So one of the things that really caught my attention and really, really got to me about the whole thing is when my kids not only started to catch on to what it was I was saying in my music, but they were also saying it too and wanting to make the same kind of stuff. And I'm sitting here like, I would be a hypocrite if I would be like, nah, that's a bad word. Don't say that. Nah, that's a bad thing. We not really supposed to do that. But you can rap about it. I didn't want my kids looking at me like that, man. Like, that was one of the other big reasons. And that's also what got to me as well. Because after I started to see them grow up and, you know, living in the house with them and stuff and actually raising them, and I'm like, man, we need some, man, like, we're going to need values and principles and things like that to live by. And one of the biggest stains on the values and principles that I was trying to have them live by is the stuff I would say in my music. That got to me, man. It really did. But I hope you all have a good rest of your day. In Jesus' name, please like and subscribe, please, so more people can see these videos. In Jesus' name, you have a good rest of your day. I gotta make this phone call. I got something important going on. Have a good one.